The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello all, good evening. Can you all hear me? Am I audible? And is my screen is visible to all? Hello all. Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys, thanks for the confirmation. Good evening all. So first of all, I would congratulate everyone for being selected for this internship. So I'm Guha Priya. So yesterday you had a very first session regarding the internship. So you might have known about, voice is not clear. What about others? Am I audible clearly to all? Can you please confirm? Shall we proceed? Yeah. Okay, guys, thanks for the confirmation. So let me continue. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to welcome you to the Emertxe internship. I'm Guha Priya. I will be handling the first week, the internship sessions. So you might have known about the structure or the duration of the internship. So basically it is 1 month. So I'll just give you a recap. Okay, so it's 1 month internship. Okay, maybe one or 2 days additional. Okay, it may maybe 1 or 2 days extras. Okay, but it's 1 month duration internship is. Okay, and the class timings every day will be from 7 to 9, Monday to Friday. Every day it will be 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, so no classes on weekends. Weekends or holiday. Okay, and the first week of internship, week 1. So we are going to cover C and C++ programming. Okay, so C programming and C++ programming skills are very important to do IoT application, to do IoT project. So we are going to cover the basics C and C++ in week 1. Then from week 2 onwards, you will be doing the IoT project on Arduino. Okay, week 2 to 4. Okay, so from second week onwards, okay, 2 to 4, you will be doing project on Arduino. Okay, so this will be around 7 to 8 classes, 7 to 8 sessions. When I say week 1, it is 7 days. Okay, 7 days, which is not including the holidays. Okay, so 7 sessions for C and C++. Okay, and from week 2 onwards, that is from 9th session onwards, you will have the IoT project. Okay, so where you will learn about Arduino programming, interfacing, and also IoT related stuffs. Okay, so you will be having access for LMS where you can refer the recordings. So every day the recordings will be uploaded in LMS. Okay, So LMS login ID, you need a login ID and password for LMS. This credentials you will receive via mail. So please check your mail. You might have received already. If you have not received, then wait for 1 or 2 days. Okay, maybe today or tomorrow you will receive this LMS ID. Okay, so the link to open LMS. Okay, and login ID and password you will receive via mail only. Okay, and in LMS you can refer the recordings. So the every day the class recordings will be uploaded in the LMS. Okay, class recordings you can get access, and also the study materials, the PPTs. Okay, some assignment programs, assignment examples, all this are available in the LMS. Okay, so after this 4th week, okay, the internship IoT, after this IoT project, you have to do it by your own. Okay, and submit on LMS. The project submission you have to do. So project, it is the same project for all. So this project explanation will be explained after 2nd week. Okay, so have to submit the project, IoT project. Okay, after completion, complete the project, complete IoT project, then submit on LMS. Yeah, okay. So it will be evaluated. Project will be evaluated. Evaluated by mentors from Emertxe. Okay. So once after evaluation, you will receive certificate. Okay, receive certificate. So this process will take time. Okay. So this is after internship. Okay, so we'll explain how to do the project, and we will provide the guidelines to do the projects and all. So after internships, you have to complete the IoT project. You have to submit on LMS. It will be evaluated, and you will be receiving the certificate. Okay. So after completion of this internship, it may take around approximately 2 weeks. 2 weeks to receive submit certificate. Okay. So don't have to check your attendance, and don't have to mark your attendance. We are not tracking attendance. Okay. Fine. So for any queries or any questions on the LMS itself, we have something called as discussion forum. Okay. So I'll show you how to use that discussion forum. So there is a discussion forum. You can, if you have login, you can log in and check. There is something called as discussion forum. Okay. So in this discussion forum, you can ask your queries, ask the subject related or any general queries. Queries in the discussion forum. Okay. And in case if I have some some message to be informed, or if I need to announce something, so there is something called as announcement section as well. So if there is any announcement, then I will be using this announcement section. Okay. So regarding the class timings, or if there is any change in the plan, if there is any change in the timing, or if there is any information I need to share, okay, to be used by the mentors. For sharing informations. Okay. So we'll be using this, so you can check the announcements frequently. Since you have login credentials, you can check it if there is any announcement. Probably you will receive mail also. Okay. So if there is any post in the announcement section, you will receive mail. You can come and check this LMS. You can log into LMS and check it. Okay. And discussion forum, you can ask your general queries, internship related queries. Okay, all these questions: when I'll get certificate, or what is the duration? About all these questions, you can ask in the discussion forum. Okay. So, do you need any clarification? So, daily basis, we will be checking the discussion forum. I will be answering those questions. Yes, I'll explain. I'll come to this week one. I'll come to the C part. Okay, this is about the plan for the internship. Yes, C programming. C programming I'll be explaining. Yes, using the C programming only, you're going to program the Arduino. It's embedded C programming only. This kind of questions, placement related. There is no attendance. Basically, we are not tracking attendance. Okay. So this login issues. Okay, you can check for the login ID and password. You can check in the mail. Check you that you might have received mail from Emertxe, so you can check that. So I'll show you how you can use discussion forum and how to watch the recorded sessions, where the recorded sessions are uploaded. All this I'll tell you. Okay. No, the classes we have planned for 2 hours only. Okay, so we cannot complete the internship if it is for only 1 hour. So if you did not receive LMS credential, you can mail support@emertxe.com. Okay, so you can contact us for any login issues. If you have any login issues, you can write to this mail. Class timing, it is from 7 to 9 only. Okay, there's no change in class timing. Okay, so we'll get started, guys, because so many questions I can see, but I cannot answer all these questions now. Okay, so you can post it in the discussion forum. Okay, if you have login ID, you can just log into the portal. You can see the discussion forum in the top itself. You can ask your questions in the discussion forum. And for any login issues, you can check with the support team. Okay, you can mail to support@emertxe.com. Okay. Okay. So we'll get started now. So first week, we are going to start with the C programming. So the very first day, we will start with the introduction to C. Okay. So I'll also tell you the syllabus. What are we going to cover? So in C programming, so C programming is very much important skill to develop any embedded or IoT applications. Okay. So that is why we have this C programming as a first week course. Okay. So we'll start with the introduction, a little bit introduction to C. Then we will cover about the basic data types. Then we will cover about use statements and loops. Then we'll cover about arrays, basics of arrays. Then we'll discuss about the pointers, basics pointers and functions we are going to cover. And we are going to cover strings and storage class. And we are going to cover preprocessor directive. Especially the hash include, hash define we are going to cover. Okay, so this is what we are going to focus in C programming. Okay, so let's start with introduction to C. So what does C programming means? What do you mean by C? It's a middle level language. It's a middle level language. Basic fundamental computer language. It's a language used to communicate with machine or the computer. Exactly, correct, Bhargavi. Okay, so it's basically like our, the language what we speak English or Hindi. So this is one of the language which is used to communicate with the hardware. It is used to interact with the machine. Okay, so this is basically a communication technique. Okay, so to interact with the system, we need some language. So that is what the C programming language. So basically, there are three levels. We are categorizing the programming language into three levels: low level, middle level, and high level. Okay. So this three levels we have categorized based upon how the language it is used when we develop application based upon hardware. Okay, so when we have a low level language, so this is very close to the hardware. Okay, so just above the hardware we have this low level programming language. So based upon how close the language is to the hardware, based on this we have these three categories. So low level language, it is very close to the hardware. So low level languages like assembly language, so the instructions. So assembly languages are nothing but it is a set of instructions to interact with the hardware. So you might be you might have learned about the microcontroller programming. So move instruction using some instructions like move, load instruction, add instruction. So this is nothing but assembly language, assembly code. It's very close to the hardware, just above the hardware. You can see it's very close to the hardware. So it is made up of instructions. So every hardware has its own instruction set. Using that, the language is written, the code is written. Okay. So the advantage of low level languages, it is very close to the hardware. So execution is faster. Speed. It is speed and efficient. I can say fast and efficient, or speed and efficient. Okay. So as it is very close to the hardware, the execution will be faster and it can efficiently access the hardware devices. Okay. So it's very close to the hardware. It's completely dependent on the hardware. It is dependent on the hardware. So it is more efficient. But the problem with the assembly code is when you write a code for one device, let's say I'm writing a code for one microcontroller, let's say PIC controller, I'm writing a code. Okay, I'm using an assembly language, I'm writing a code. So the same code, can I use it for other controller? Let's say I have another STM microcontroller. Okay, can I use the same code for STM? No. Reason is the hardware is completely different, the architecture is different, right? So it is completely dependent on the hardware. So when you write an assembly code, it is completely dependent on the hardware. So the same code, we cannot use it in the other device. Okay, there is no portability. There is no portability. Okay, so that is one problem with the assembly language. Okay, that is, you can say, disadvantages. We cannot port it. And also, if someone needs to write an assembly code, they should know the instruction sets thoroughly. They should understand the architecture of the hardware thoroughly. So only then they can write a program. If they doesn't understand the architecture, they cannot write a program on the hardware using an assembly language. So it is very tough to learn assembly language. Okay. So that's why they developed a middle level language which is having very less dependency on the hardware. So if the program is very less dependent on the hardware, so it can be portable. That is nothing but the C. So C programming, it is middle level language. So it is partially dependent on the hardware. So low level programming language, it is very close to the hardware, so it is dependent, completely dependent on the hardware. Middle level language C programming, so it is partially dependent on the hardware. Okay, so we cannot say it is close or we cannot say it is far, so it is partially dependent. Okay, so when you write code on C programming, we will be accessing the hardware directly sometimes. Okay, low level programming also we can write, or we can write high level programming as well. We can convert the C programming into high level as well. That is possibility. That's a possibility. So high level programming languages are Java, you can say C++, okay, Python, shell scripting language, all are high level programming language. So high level programming, it is completely independent of the hardware. So if it is independent, the advantage is it is more portable. Okay, so if you have a code written for one device using C++, you can actually use the same code for other device. Okay, because it is independent of the hardware. The code is not written based upon the hardware. So it's more portable. It is more portable. Okay. So C programming, when it comes to C programming, it's a middle level language. It has a partial dependency on the hardware. Okay. So if you want to achieve both, so if you see this low level programming language, it is fast and efficient. So if you see high level language, it is more portable, but it is not efficient. It is not fast and efficient like low level because it is far away from the hardware. Okay. It is far away from the hardware. So if you want to achieve both portability and efficiency, so C programming, it is the right choice. Okay. So this is the reason why we go for C programming, though we have multiple languages. Okay, so Java programming, so we cannot control hardware using Java programming. C++. We can control hardware using C++, but it is not efficient as low-level programming language. When it comes to C, as it is middle level, it does have a partial dependency over the hardware. So we can achieve both portability and efficiency. Okay. So this is a key considerations for going for C programming. So the C programming only we are going to use it in IoT application development. Okay. Yes, Python also some extent it can be used, but C is more convenient. Okay, C is more convenient and C is more powerful than that. Okay, so using C programming, you can achieve the efficiency and also you can achieve the portability. This is the reason we go for C programming. So where it is used? Just a minute, let me connect my charger. Okay. So where is this C programming is used? Any idea? So using C programming, we can develop IoT applications. That's why we are studying C programming right now. Right now we are studying C in order to develop applications. IoT applications we can develop using C programming. Embedded applications, embedded systems you can develop using C programming. So when you develop an embedded system or IoT, so it does you know, yes, wide range of applications you can develop using C programming. So very low level programming also we can do, or high level programming also we can do. Commercial applications also you can do. Very good. Yes. So C is more powerful. Okay, it is more powerful, it is more efficient, and it's more flexible. Okay. So C programming, it is used in system software development. The system applications you can develop using C programming. In embedded software application, you can develop using C programming. And the operating system itself, you can develop using C programming. Yes. And you know the Linux operating system, Linux, the older operating system, it is completely developed in C programming language only. Okay. And you can use C programming to develop firmware, middleware. You can write device drivers programs using C programming, and also file system develop. You can develop it using C programming, and many more applications can be developed using C programming. Okay. So here are the important characteristics of C programming. So we learned C programming, it is a communication technique using which we can interact with the system. So it is a middle level programming. So using which we can achieve both portability and efficiency. It is used in wide range of application development. And the important characteristics are, it's a general purpose system. Okay, so even though it is used in specific domains like embedded or IoT, it is a general purpose language which can be used to develop any level of applications. And it's a free formatted language. So free formatted languages means the syntax when you write program. Okay, so you can write everything in one line, or you can write it in the new line. Okay, so say for example, I'm writing an if condition in C programming. I'm checking whether the number is equal to 5 or not. Okay, so I can write num equal to 5. So I can check like this. Okay, and in case if I need a new line below this, yes, I can give a new line here. So in case if I want to move those curly braces to the if condition itself, same line itself I can write like this. Or if I want to give some extra spaces here, yes, I can give it, or I can remove spaces if you don't want. Okay, so it's freely formatted. You can format it by your own way. Okay, wherein the other programming languages, like if you take Python, if you're checking number equal to 5, okay, the next line, then you should give a space, a tab space you should give, then only you have to write some statements, I equal to 9, some values you have to write like this. Okay, so you should format the program that is there in the other programming languages, but in C programming it's freely formatted. Okay, so you can write multiple statements in one line, or you can write it in each statement, you can write it in new line, and anywhere you can give a space or tab space or a new line, which as you wish. Okay, that's what called as free formatted language. And efficiency and portability are the important considerations. And also C supports a wide range of libraries using which you can make the development process easy. So this is also an important characteristics of C. So when we start writing C programming, so we have to be using some keywords. Okay, so programming is made up of keywords and some variables and some values, right? So in C programming, we have different categories. We have different categories of keywords. Okay. So if you take data type, so under this category of data type, we have character, int, float, double. And under the category of modifiers, we have signed, unsigned, short, long. And under the category of qualifiers, we have character, volatile. And under the category of loops, we have for, while, do while, and we have jumping statements, go to, break, continue. All these are keywords in C programming. And in terms of decision making, you can use if, else, switch, case, default. All these are keywords. And with respect to storage class, we have auto, register, static, and extern. And with respect to derived, we have structure, union. Okay, so user defined data types, also we have enum, typedef, and apart from this, other keywords are void, return, size of. So all these are keywords in C programming. Okay, so all are keywords in C programming. So using these keywords, we can write a program. So keywords cannot be used as a variable names. So these are special names which are reserved for a specific purpose. Keywords are special names which are reserved for a specific task. So you cannot use these keywords as a variable names, okay, because it has a different meaning. Reserved words, it has a different meaning. And this is how the typical C code contents. Okay, so you can see here. So when you see a C program, so first section will be documentation section. So documentation section is nothing but you will be adding the author of the code, okay, a description about the code, and the sample input, sample output. All this will be in the documentation section. So when you want to document something, okay, you're creating an application, you need to include some informations in the program. So in such case, you can write it in the documentation. So documentation should be always commented. Okay, so comment, it's nothing but a non-executable code. Okay, non-executable statements you can see, or code you can see in program. If you want to add some lines to describe the program, you can use // so this is single line command. Okay. And this is multi-line command. Okay, So multi-line command means multiple lines if you want to comment it. Only one line if you want to comment, you can use //. So if you want to comment multiple lines, you write it inside /*/*. Okay, so inside this you can have multiple lines. So all this are non-executable statements. So generally documentation means we will mention the name of the programmer or the author. Okay, then the date when it is created, this is added in the documentation section. Then the description about program and the sample input, sample output. So this is nothing but the documentation section. So this describes your program. This increases the readability in the program. So next type is pre-process statements. So pre-processor statements are used to include header files, #include stdio.h, #include string.h are examples of the pre-processor statements. So next is global variable declaration or function declarations. If you want to declare variables or functions globally, you can add it here. So next is the main code. So the main code is where the program starts execution. So when you write the C program and when you start running the program, so this is where the program starts execution. So main program, we will have local variable declarations, our program statements, our function calls. And after that, we may have one or more functions and function body in the code. Okay, so this is a typical C code content. So this is the simple C code, very first code. Okay. So first line is nothing but a comment. My first C code. This is a description about the program. The second is the preprocessor directive, #include stdio.h. This is a preprocessor directive. And next is the main function. So main function is where the program starts execution. Okay. And inside this main function, we have some statements. So this is also comment only. So this is describing the next line, the statement. So this is printf to print hello world. This is a statement to print hello world. Then the return 0, it's for terminating the program or end of the program. Okay. So remember always the program starts execution from the main and terminates at the line return 0. This is a simple C code. Any questions? Okay. So now we have covered introduction. So let's start with the data representation. So as I told, if you take any C program, you will have keywords in it and you will have a data in it and some variables in it. Okay. So data means numbers only, mostly numbers. Okay. So numbers are stored in the program, and also you can store a character, not only numbers. You can store a character. You can store a collection of character as well. So let's understand how this is all stored in the program. Okay. So first let's start with numbers. So number systems are very important to write any C program. Okay, because data, most of the cases we will store in the form of numbers only. So we have different number systems. So if you have an integer, you can represent integer in different number system. So you can represent in decimal, you can represent in binary, you can represent in octal, or you can represent in hexadecimal. So in C program, you can use integer in any format. You can write the integer in decimal format, or you can write the integer in binary format, or you can write the integer value in octal format. You can write it in any format. Okay. So what does decimal means? How many digits are there in decimal? Decimal is base. What is the base value for decimal? Yes, it is base 10. It is base 10. So we can have digits from 0 to 9. Okay. So what about binary? What about binary number system? What is its base value? So base value is 2. So it has only 0 and 1. What about octal? Octal number system? The base value is 8. For octal, base value is 8. So the numbers digits are from 0 to 7. Okay. In hexadecimal, the base value is 16. Yes. So it is from 0 to 9. And also we have alphabets. Okay. So A, B, A to F. A to F we have. Okay. So if you have an integer value to be used in program, you can take any number system. Okay. So how to use it in the program? So if I write 10, so can you tell me which number system this belongs to? Ten. So if it's simply 10, no. Decimal also we have 10, and binary also we can have 1 0. Octal also we can have just digits 1 0. Now, which number system it is? Yes, it is to be considered as a decimal only. Okay, it is a decimal number only. So if you want to represent this 1 0 as a binary value, then you must use 0b. Okay, so if you add the 0b before this, then this number is considered as a binary value. Okay, so if you want to consider this 1 0 as an octal, then you should use 0 before this. 0 1 0, this is considered as an octal. If you want to consider this 1 0 as a hexadecimal, then you must include 0x. 0x 1 0, this is a hexa. Okay, so looking at this values itself, you can understand whether this number is a decimal or binary or octal or a hexadecimal. Okay. So number is generally represented as any format. Okay. And if you take 1 byte of memory, let's say if you have 1 byte of memory. Okay. So 1 byte means how many bit it is? It is 0b, 0b only. It is 0 for octal, 0, not O, it is 0 for octal. Okay. So 1 8 bit. It is 8 bit. Okay. So 1 byte memory means it is consist of 8 bits. Okay. So if you have 8 bits, all the bits, if it is 0, okay, so bit can store either 1 or 0 only. So bit is very basic information which is stored in the memory. It can be either 0 or 1. So bit is nothing but binary digit. Okay. So 1 byte memory is 8 bits. Okay. 1 byte is 8 bit, and 1 bit is nothing but binary value, binary digit. Okay. It's binary digits, and it can be 0 or 1. It can be 0 or 1. So you can have any number systems used in program, but machine can understand only binary. Okay. Machine will understand only the zeros and ones. It cannot understand this decimal, octal, hexadecimal and all. It can understand only binary number system. Okay. So whatever value you use in program, that is finally converted to binary and stored in the memory. So if you have 1 byte of memory, then this is a minimum value you can have. And if it is maximum value, this bits can be 1. Okay. So you can understand only binary. So to understand the number systems and to use a number system, different number systems in program, we must also know how do we convert from one number system to other number system. Okay, let's say I want to convert from decimal to binary. Okay. So how do we convert decimal to binary? Any idea? Are you audible, guys? Is it breaking for all? Okay, I'll continue. If there is any issues, let me know. Okay. So if you want to convert decimal to binary, then you should divide by 2. Okay. Yeah. So let's consider decimal value is 24. So if you want to convert into binary, you should start dividing by 2. So you have to keep on dividing by 2, and also you have to record the remainder, or you have to mention the remainder here until it becomes 0. You have to divide by 2. So 24 divided by 2 will be 12. And again, if you divide 12 by 2, so remainder is 0 here. If you divide this 12 by 2, it is 6, and remainder is 0 here. And if you divide 6 by 2, it's 3. Remainder is 0. Then you divide by 2. This is 1. Remainder is 1. Okay. So what if you divide by 2? Value is 0. Remainder is 1. Okay. So you need to track this from top to bottom. 1 1 0 0 0. So this is a binary equivalent. So if you want to convert back to decimal, the binary, if you want to convert to decimal, so you have to multiply with 2 power values. Let me take the same values. So you have to multiply it's 2 power value plus 1 into 2 power value, but each digit you have to multiply with 2 power value. 0 into 2 power value and plus 0 into 2 power value, and at last you have to sum it. So this is 0, 0 into 2 power 1 plus 0 into 2 power 2, 0 into 2 power 3, sorry, 1 into 2 power 3 and 1 into 2 power 4. Okay, just a minute. Okay. I hope I'm audible to all clearly. Okay. So maybe please check from your end once. Okay. So if you want to convert binary to decimal, with each of the digits, you have to multiply with 2 power values, and at the end you have to sum it. Okay. So if you solve this expression, you will get this 24 back. So that's how you can convert binary to decimal. Sometimes we need to convert hexa to binary as well. Okay. Because in microcontrollers, most of the cases you will be using hexadecimal number system only. Okay. So if you want to convert hexadecimal to binary, let's understand how do we do. So 0x, 0x, let's say 4, 5. So this is a hexa number. Okay. So if you want to convert this into binary, hexa to binary. So to represent each digit, hexadecimal digit, you need 4 bits of binary. Okay. So every bit you have to convert into binary separately here. Okay. So we have 0x, 4, 5, right? So you want to convert into binary. So 5 you have to represent in binary. What is 5 in binary? So what is 5 in binary? So each digit you have to convert into binary. Yes. 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay. So what is 4 in binary? 0, 1, 0, 0. Right? So binary equivalent of the hexadecimal. So each digit you have to convert separately into binary. So if you want to convert binary into hexa means it is an opposite. Okay. Binary to hexa. So let's consider it as. 00100011. Okay, you need to convert this binary to hexa. So this case you have to group 4 digits, four digits you have to group and you have to convert into hexa. So here 0011 means, oh, just breaking, just a minute. Let me check my connection. Yeah. So please check now whether it is fine or not. Okay. So this is binary to hexa. So you have to split 4 bits. You have to split 4 bits, and this needs to be converted into hexa. So 0011 it is 3 and 0010 it is 2. Okay, so it is 0 x 2. This way you can convert binary to hexa. Okay. Did you understand how to convert decimal to binary, binary to decimal, and hexa to binary and binary to hexa? Zoom in, yes. No, we are checking this settings from this webinar. Connection is fine, but there may be some issues with the application, so we are checking it. No, I didn't. I didn't type something. Sorry, I didn't type anything. You can. I'm waiting for you to. Okay, just want. Okay. So let us continue. So as I told, data representation bit. Okay, so a quick overview. So literally computer understand only 2 states, high state and low state, which is nothing but binary system. And these states are coded as 1 or 0. So that is called as binary digits. So binary digits, it's nothing but the word bit. Bit is binary digit. So bit is very basic information stored in the computer. And byte, it is a combination of bits. It is a collection of 8 bits. Okay. So when we access data from the memory, either we are reading or writing to the memory, we are addressing in terms of bytes only. Okay. Next, we have something called as word size. We have something called as word size. So we learned about bit. Bit is nothing but smallest information, which is binary digit, zeros or one. It is either zero or one. Bit is either 0 or 1. And byte, it is a collection of bits, which is 8 bits. Okay. So when you access data from the memory, you will be accessing in terms of bytes only. And there is something called as word size. So this is multiples of byte. Word, it's nothing but multiples of bytes, maybe 4 bytes or 8 bytes. So it is depending upon the bitness. If the system is 32-bit system, it is 4 bytes. If the system is 64-bit system, it is 8 bytes. The word size is 4 or 8 bytes based upon the bitness of the system. Okay. So based on the word size only the operations are performed. Okay. So when we do any operations on numbers, when we execute any instructions on the system, the operations are performed in terms of word size only. Okay. So basically, if you take values, that is all stored in the binary format only. So if you take 12, so 12 is stored in binary in memory. If you're storing the value 12 in memory, so this is stored as a binary value. So what is 12 in binary? Is 12 in binary? It is 1, 1, 0, 0. Okay. So if you are storing in 1 byte of memory, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. This is what's stored in the memory. So in case if the number is a negative value, so if it is a positive value, this is stored in binary. If the number is a negative value, this is stored in binary format only, but it is not a direct binary, it is a 2's complement. Number stored in 2's complement format. So what is 2's complement representation? So let me tell you. So how do we find 2's complement? The steps to find 2's complement. So the first step is you have to represent the number in binary. Represent the number in binary format. Okay. So 12, ignore this negative sign, consider only 12. So 12, if you write it in binary, it is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, right? And second step is you have to take 1's complement. So 1's complement means you have to convert 0 to 1's, 1 to 0. Okay, 1's complement is nothing but convert 1 to 0, 0 to 1. Okay, so if you convert 1 to 0 and 0 to 1's, So if it is 0, then we have to convert it into 1, right? And 0 0 1 1. This is 1's complement. Okay. Next, you have to take 2's complement. No, so for this you have to add plus 1. With 1's complement, if you add plus 1, then you will get a 2's complement value. So it's a binary addition. So 1 plus 1, it's not 2, so it's 1 0. So 0 we have to write it here, and 1 is carry forwarded. 1 is carry forwarded to the previous bit. So already we have 1 here. 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1, it is 1 0. So 0 here, and 1 is carry forwarded to the previous bit. Now this is 1. Okay, 1 and 1 1 1 1. 0. Okay, here it is 1. Right. So this is how the negative numbers are stored in memory, 2's complement format. So if you try to store minus 12, this is what's stored in 1 byte of memory. So I'm considering 1 byte. Okay. Is that clear? Even you can mathematically calculate. You can even mathematically calculate using this formula. Okay. So if you want to know how the values are stored in memory, you can use this formula minus k 2 power n and minus k. Okay. So n denotes number of bits. So in how many bits you are storing the data. So that is nothing but n value, number of bits. You can also use this. You can also use this to check the value stored in the memory. So you'll get a result, and that you have to again convert into binary, and you have to check this. Okay. So always remember, when it is a positive value, it is stored in the direct binary format. Positive integers. We are talking about data representation. We're talking about data representation. Okay, so if it is an integer, we can use any different format in the program, but in the memory it is stored as a binary value only. Okay, if it is a positive, then definitely it is in the direct binary format. Binary format it is stored in the memory. Okay, so if it is a negative integer, then it is stored as binary only, but it is 2's complement. Okay. So to find 2's complement, you have to represent the number in binary first. Then you have to take 1's complement. So 1's complement means the bits, no? You have to convert 1 to 0, 0 to 1. That is 1's complement. If you add 1, then you will get a 2's complement. Okay. So next, let us discuss about the basic data types. So when we want to store some value in the program, so we need a variable. We need a variable to store value. So when we take a variable, we should specify the data type for the variable. Only then the memory is allocated. So the basic data types are integral and float. So under integral type, you have character and integer. So which is used to store an integer. If you want to store an integer value, decimal value, you can either take a character or int. And if you want to store floating point values, then you have data type called as float or double. So this is nothing but the keyword. Data types. We have int and real numbers. Okay, floating point values, it is called as real numbers. So integer, we have two categories. Integral, we have two categories. Integral type. So one is integer, you can take int or character. Okay. So real type, you can take float or double. Okay. So when you create variables, you must use data type. You must use data type to ask for memory. Okay. So let me also explain variable declaration. So the syntax to declare a variable is you must use the data type, any of this data type according to your requirement, then the variable name. Variable name, as per your choice, you can use variable names. For example, let's say I want to store an integer, you can use int num. Let's say I want to store a character, you can use char, this character type. Variable name is ch. Okay. Let's say you want to store the float value. Okay, real numbers, floating point value you want to store. So you can take float type fnum, or even you can take double dnum. Okay. So when you declare variable, the memory will be allocated for the variable. So for integer, the memory is allocated in GCC compiler, it is 4 bytes. So this depends upon the compiler what we use. Okay, depends upon compiler. Some compilers turbo C, it is only 2 bytes. It's 4 bytes. 4 bytes of memory is allocated in GCC compiler. And if it is a character, then 1 byte of memory is allocated. And if it is float, then 4 bytes of memory is allocated to store the value. If it is double, then 8 bytes of memory is allocated to store the value. Okay. So if you want to store values, if you want to store data in the program, you must declare a variable. You must declare the variable. So when you declare a variable, you should specify the data type. Okay. So GCC, it is a compiler. Okay. The size of the integer depends upon the compiler. This is compiler. So compiler is nothing but an application. It is an application to convert source code, C programming, whatever we have written, no, source code to machine understandable code. So this is a work of the compiler. So when you write a C program, okay, you must convert into machine understandable code by using any of the compiler. This stands for GNU compiler collection. Yes, like Turbo C. Yes, like Turbo C, GCC it is a compiler. So Turbo C compiler, it is 2 bytes. Integer is 2 bytes. GCC integer is 4 bytes. So along with this data type, you can also use something called as modifiers and qualifiers. So modifiers, we have categories like size, signess, So size, it is to change the width of the data type. Signess, it is to change the signess of the data type. Okay, so const orator is advanced. Later we'll discuss about this. Maybe the modifiers I'll explain. So modifiers are used to tune the property of the variable. Okay, it is used to tune the property of the variable. So we have size modifiers. Using size modifiers, we can change the size. We have short, long with size modifiers. And with signed modifiers, we have signed and unsigned. Okay. Okay, so VS Code, yes, VS Code, code blocks, it is all IDE where you can develop applications. Okay, by writing C program or any other program support also, it's that. Okay, it's an IDE where you will get a editor window where you can type the program, and you can compile there itself and you can view the output there itself. It's an IDE. Okay, IDE means, right? Like Arduino IDE, you are knowing, right? Right? Similarly, code blocks. So for writing C programming, you can choose VS Code or code blocks, or even you can go with online compiler. Okay, so the materials are there. I'll tell you at the end, okay, how to run a program and all. Okay. Yeah. So coming back to this modifiers, when you declare a variable, you can also add modifiers. Okay, to change the size or to change the sign. So when you have short, no, this is applied only for the int. It's applied only for the int. So you can have short int num. So int, it allocates 4 bytes. So if you use short int, it allocates only 2 bytes. Okay. So in case if you want to optimize the memory usage, you can use short int. Okay. And long you can use for int. Integers you can use long. So if it is an integer, it is 4 bytes. If it is long integer, it would be 8 bytes in GCC compiler. This is also compiler implementation dependent. Okay. So all the size, it's compiler implementation dependent only. Okay, based on compiler. Size of this short or long may vary. Okay, so I'm just writing in terms of GCC. In GCC compiler, it is 2. In long, in GCC compiler, long int is 8 bytes. Okay. With respect to signed modifiers, so we can use signed int also. Signed int. Even if you don't use any signed or unsigned, this is by default considered as a signed. So this is used to store both positive and negative value. You can store both positive and negative value. Okay. Unsigned int num. So this can store only positive value. Okay. So if you want to store only positive value, then take unsigned int. If you want to store both positive and negative, then you can take signed. By declaring variable, you can take signed. Even if you don't add signed by default, it is signed type only. Okay. This is about modifiers, and also few more things I'll explain here. So if I just declare a variable, memory for the variable is allocated. Okay, for the variable num, the memory is allocated. 4 bytes of memory is allocated. So what value is it going to have? What value this num is going to have? We just say int num. Okay, I didn't store any value here, just declaration. It has just declaration. What does it has? So it's going to have garbage value in it. We cannot predict. Okay, so it can be any value we cannot predict. Okay, so it's going to have garbage in it, garbage value in it. Okay. So if you want to store some value at the time of declaration, then you can use num equal to 10. Now this memory is 4 bytes of memory is allocated and it is going to have 10 stored. Okay. And similarly, if you want to initialize a character, so character type, it is used to store a character values. So let's say I want to store a character A. So when you want to store a character, you must give the character in single quote. So if you just give A, this will give you an error. This A is considered as a variable and value for the variable will be searched. We don't have variable A declared. So you should specify in single quote. This is how you can declare character. Okay. And similarly, float value, double value, float, fnum. If you want to initialize, you can just give 45, something like this. Okay, float or double, it is used to store floating point values. Let's say double dnum. You can just make 67.6, something like this. Okay, so this is how you can initialize the values. Is that clear? Okay, shall I continue? Is it fine? Is my voice is fine? Is this clear? Should I repeat anything? A quick recap on that. So if you want to store, guys, please listen. Am I audible now? Am I audible clearly? Am I audible clearly? Can you give a thumbs up? Lovesh, am I audible? I'm not getting any responses. Okay. So a quick recap. So data representation is nothing but how the data is stored in the memory. Okay. So if you have an integer value, then definitely it is in binary format. So integer can be a negative value or positive value. So if it is a positive value, then it is directly stored in binary format. If it is a negative, then this is stored in 2's complement format. So if you want to store values in a program, definitely you need a variable. You need a variable. So to declare variable, you need data type. So using the data type only, you can ask memory for the variable. So we have two categories. One is used for storing integer values, another is used for storing floating point. So integer we have two keywords. Int char. It's a keyword which is used to declare variables to store integer values. And real we have float and double, which is used to store floating point values. So if you are declaring a variable, this is a syntax. You have to specify the data type, then the variable name. So int num, char4, float, fnum, double dnum. Like this, you can give any name for the variables. When you use the data type and when you declare the variable, the memory is allocated for the variable. Okay. So if it is an integer, 4 bytes of memory is allocated. If it is character, 1 byte of memory is allocated. If it is float, 4 bytes. If it is double, it is 8 bytes of memory is allocated. Don't initialize values, variables. We don't store any values in the variable, that is going to have a garbage value. Garbage which is not predictable. Maybe some values which is we cannot predict. Okay, that is called as garbage value. So to initialize, you can at the time of declaration, you can store values with equal to int num equal to 10 character. If character is used to store a characters, alphabets. Okay, alphabets are some special characters you can store. So that must be given in a single quote. Float values, float or double, can be used to store can also use modifiers. Modifiers have to sign as size. So sign as size is used to change the property of the variable. So if you want to change the size of the variable, depend on internal otherwise, use the both argument. Sorry, it's used to any questions? Stop here. We'll continue tomorrow. So I'll stop here, guys. I'll continue tomorrow. So I'll record. I will upload the recordings in LMS. Thank you. Thank you all.